First of all, I'd like to thank Linda for the warm welcome, and I'd like to thank the delegates for asking me to speak here today and giving me the opportunity. When I came in, it sounded like you were working on the Model Core curriculum, a subject that I've been asked a lot about as I travel around the state. And it's important to think about all of those initiatives, Model Core curriculum, No Child Left Behind, and all the other things that we're asked to do as educators in this state. But I think the question that we all need to go back to that is far more important than Model Core curriculum, No Child Left Behind, and all of the other mandates that we've been focusing on is a simple four-word question: why do I teach? Why am I in the classroom? I've been asked, why did you become a teacher 100 times, if not 1,000 times, since I became Teacher of the Year. I've thought about it a lot lately, and this is what I came up with. I keep coming back to a quote by Douglas Adams that said, "I may not have gone where I intended to go, but I think I've ended up where I intended to be." All through my career, I was a teacher, and all the things I did was as a teacher. I teach because I believe. I teach because I believe that education is the way up and the way out for our children today. I teach because I believe that anyone can learn, and that in doing so they can become more than they currently are. I teach because I believe in a society that rises or falls in equal measure to the quality of its education system, and that it's rare for an educated person to be a killer, a drug dealer, or a rapist. I teach because even after all these years, I still believe in the joy of learning, and that if I do my job right, others can share in that also. I teach because of the influence teachers had on me. I teach because of Tom Brown, my junior high school teacher, who showed me how incredibly fun learning can be. I teach because of Jerry Stillwell, another teacher and administrator. At a time when a lot of bad things were happening in my life, he took the time to get to know me, to treat me like a human being first and a student second. I teach because he listened, and in listening so well, he inspired me to try to be like him. I teach because I forgive myself. Because somehow I've come to grips with my faults, my failures, the kids I've lost, the kids who didn't learn, the kids who never did their homework and failed my class, the broken, angry kid that I had never connected with. The importance of our job compels me to accept my imperfections and still care, still try, and still believe in every single student who walks into my classroom this week, next year, that they will and can learn, and I can look past my previous failures to my future successes with those kids. Abraham Lincoln was quoted as saying, "My great concern is not whether you failed, but whether or not you're content with that failure." And I work with my kids every day in my classroom to understand that it doesn't matter what mistake they made today, it's what good thing they do tomorrow as a result of that mistake. I teach because of the awesome pay, the perks, the low-stress work environment, the incredible social prestige that comes with being a teacher. Someday I'm going to win like an Oscar or Tony or an Emmy, and I'm going to get to say that. But I do remember when I was first teaching, and I'd look forward to having the whole summer off to play golf, vacation, go fishing. Oh yeah, that's not right either, is it? So there's a lot of things to think about. I teach because I found peace and a balance of work and privacy. I will give you much of who I am, but not all of it. I enjoy myself, my family, my individual pursuits. Being a whole person makes me a better teacher. And I am still teaching because I've been able to define the limits of how much I give and am comfortable with those limits. I teach because of the good days, the days when everything works right, when I hear students laughing, when I see students learning. I teach for those moments, those special moments, when all clicks and you see in your classroom crackling with energy and focus, when the bell rings at the end of the class period and the students look up in surprise and they say, "What, it's time to go?" And they think, "Wow, that was fast." I teach because I did not need a thank you, a handshake, or a compliment when that happens. What I needed was to hear the kids would leave with joy and excitement in what they'd learned. A few years ago, I was at a party with some friends, and an acquaintance asked me, or heard us when we were talking, and he wanted to know, when asked how the relationship was going with me in my classroom, and I said, "It's good." I think the kids learn. I think the kids believe in what I believe in them, that they can learn and that they should take the power and control over what they learn in the classroom. But I am not just a teacher. I am everything that implies, however. But the more I think about it, just a teacher, the more I realize just because it's that way doesn't mean it should be that way. So perhaps I teach because I hold out hope that if we do our jobs well, with passion and professionalism, and somewhere down the line, a decade or two in the future, the educational climate in the United States will be different, and that we'll have a United States culture similar to that of some of the Asian countries, where the word teacher or sensei is a word of honor, and is used mainly for doctors and other professionals. I teach because whatever subject I may teach, my primary task is to enlighten. I teach because my goal in life is to learn. This year, I think I've become more reflective and practical in my teaching and in my experience. I've realized that the true teacher appreciation begins with us, the people in this room, the people in our classrooms, the people in our schools. We should not look to others to appreciate us. We should appreciate ourselves. We should appreciate our dedication. We should appreciate our professionalism. We should appreciate our diversity. We should accept the fact that we may take different paths down our respective roads to the professional development and realize that one road is not superior to the other. Let us appreciate ourselves for who we are and for what we bring to teaching. The high standards that we insist upon, not the highfalutin initials or acronyms behind our name. The MS, the BA, the MA, the MED, the PhD, and yes, NBCT. Those are all important letters. But what is more important than having these letters applied to your name? TEACHING. We have to make. Finally, I teach because I believe in the guiding principle of life building is better than tearing down. I would like to leave you with this poem and this request or this challenge for you. I read this poem at my Teacher of the Year interviews. It said, I saw a group of men in my hometown. I saw a group of men tear a building down. With a heave and a hoe and a mighty yell, they swung the beam and the sidewall fell. I said to the foreman, are these men skilled? The type you'd hire if you wanted to build? He laughed and he said, no indeed, common labor is all I need. Right there, down in a day or two, what it took a builder years to do. I thought as I walked away, which of these roles am I to play? Am I the type that constantly tears down as I make my way foolishly around? Or am I the type who tries to build with care in the hope that my family, community, and students was glad I was there? What role are you going to play? What role have you played in the past? What role will you play in the future? When you develop and you talk to your students in the classroom, what are the things that become important to you? No Child Left Behind doesn't mean anything to them. Model core curriculum doesn't mean anything to them. The idea of a teacher who cares and empowers and brings to them the ability to take ownership in their education and their learning that creates a rigorous and relevant classroom, but also creates that relationship between their education and what they're going to do when they leave that classroom that night, or that school that summer, or that school after their graduation as a senior. What will they do with what you've left them? What gift will you give them? And what part will you play in their development as people? I want to thank you for inviting me here today. You have important work to do, and I don't want to keep you from that. But I did want to leave you with that challenge. What role will you play in your students' future? Thank you.